Hello, everyone. It's Rhett Power. It's lunchtimes on LinkedIn Live. Interesting thing about this is that we are rebranding the show. It will not be called LinkedIn Lunchtimes on LinkedIn Live. After this week, David Breyer did us a huge favor last week and helped us do a little rebranding right on the show. We try to do this program every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, God willing, at 12 noon. Today, it'll be broadcast at about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on LinkedIn's new platform. I'll be talking with today's thought leaders, best-selling authors, CEOs, and corporate leaders about their secrets to success and the habits that they have that can make us all better. The fun part is the show is interactive. We can take questions if you ask them, so do ask them. Engage with our guests. That's what they're here for. They're here to answer your questions. Now, we're also simulcasting this on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, all at the same time. So you can watch it on any of those platforms. Now, another thing is the name of the show, which is going to be Power Lunch. It's got a new website. That website is powerlunchlive.com. Actually, just Power Lunch Live. It's not a .com, just Power Lunch Live. You can go to it. You can find the schedule for the upcoming month. You can find books, featured books by our guests. You can find past shows. It's going to be pretty comprehensive. And we're getting ready to start doing a book review every week on Forbes. And so that's going to be incorporated into the show. That's coming up. That's going to be real exciting. Now, the point of this show is to learn from the best, and today is no exception. I have Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Yes. Sorry about that. I was going to get it right eventually. She is author of Healing Words and Truth-Taking and Truth, which is Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing. The two books there, Healing Words and Truth. She is co-author with Carol Shearer, who has written a book called Women Will Save the World. That's right?
Yes.
That sounds really interesting. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. And what I found really compelling about your story, Mary Ellen, is you've really overcome some personal things. I mean, being diagnosed early on as a child with epilepsy, as an adult with MS, and some of the other challenges that you've overcome. I want to talk about that today because I think that that's really the root of what the work that you're doing now is to help people,
right.
Get through their challenges. So welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I am so blessed by this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much. As I was saying, you've had a lot of obstacles, personal obstacles in your life. How did you overcome those? I mean, how do you pick yourself up off the mat every time and just keep motoring on and keep going on and keep trying to help other people get through their challenges? How do you do that? Well, I mean, that takes a special person. So I'm just really curious how you do it.
Oh, well, thank you.
And why?
And it definitely is difficult when I wake up and it's what I call a bad MS day. And on a bad MS day, I would get up and the fatigue is so immense. And I don't really want to go work out. I work out religiously to keep my MS monster in his cave. And I go anyway because I don't feel like I have another choice. It's either work out or take the shots, and I'm not a big shot person. So I go, I work out. And after you work out, your mind is telling your body, hey, you can do this. You can. And even sometimes I come home and I'm still fatigued. Well, okay, give yourself time to rest. And then my writing is my purpose, my mission statement to the world. And it's just in giving back and doing for others that you keep yourself out of that depression and you keep yourself out of that victim role of, oh, poor little me, I have MS, or poor little me, I have epilepsy. I mean, I went through that when I was a kid because my parents were always like, oh, poor little Mary Ellen, she has epilepsy. Well, when I went to college, excuse me, I didn't want to be poor little Mary Ellen anymore. I was like, I don't have to be that. I can be strong, confident Mary Ellen. And it's a process. You do it every day. You wake up and you say, I can do this. You know, I can.
What you do every morning? I mean, do you have affirmations? Are there things that you say to yourself every day to sort of put that self-talk away, that self-talk?
You know, when I wake up and I can see, because I have lost my eyesight a couple of times with MS. I mean, you literally wake up. It's not that you lose it, but it's like all funky, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I wake up and I can see, I'm like, this is a good day, you know? This is a great day. Or if I wake up and I get out of bed and my legs are still working because I've fallen to the floor before, and I say, okay, this is an even better day, you know? And you just keep going one step after another, and you don't allow yourself to have those problems. What I teach people is that there aren't problems. There are perceptions and misperceptions. And to the extent you see something as a problem, it's simply a misperception. And you need to step back and say, okay, what do I need to learn from this? How can I see this differently?
Mm-hmm.
I did that with my multiple sclerosis because I was already teaching these principles. And so I sat back and I said, not that anybody should love having MS, because trust me, it's a monster,
right.
You know. But I sat back and I approached it with love. I wrapped my arms around it with love instead of fear. And I said, okay, Lord, what do I need to learn from this? And my daughter was about 8 years old at the time. And she's walking by where I was sitting at my desk and she goes, well, I know very well what you got to learn. I'm like, okay, let me have it. And she goes, you take care of everybody else but yourself. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the MS was there. You know, God didn't give it to me to hurt me. He gave it to me so I could learn to be even a stronger Mary Ellen. Now, if he makes me any stronger, I don't know what I'm going to
do. Fair enough. Fair enough. But you publish every day
mm-hmm.
daily truths.
Yes, sir.
What is, and you've written a book about that too, but tell us about that. We got together yesterday to decide to do this, and so I didn't have the time to go. I normally try to read the books, but tell us about that and why you do it, and how do you think it helps people?
Well,
how does it help you? So, in other words, yeah.
When my first book came out, and it's a little book here, Healing Words, Life Lessons to Inspire, my publisher said, well, you have to get on Facebook. And I wasn't on Facebook, and I'm not a big fan of technology. So I'm like, no, I don't want to get on Facebook. No. And I was trying to think of a way to inspire people to buy Healing Words, but it'd be different than the little vignettes that are in the book. And I thought, well, I could write a truth of the day, because what's in the book are truths. They're little vignettes on everything from awareness through to faith and forgiveness. So they are truths. So I began in 2011 writing. I sat down and I would pray. I'm a very spiritual person, not really religious, but spiritual, and there is a difference. And I sat down and I said, okay, what do you need the people to hear? And I would write what came to me in my quiet space. And every time today, I kept writing them and kept writing them. And every time I think about stopping, somebody goes, oh, I just needed to hear this today. Thank you so much for writing this. And then some of the followers that read them say, well, you should put these in a book. So some of the ones in my second book, which is the Peacock book here, as I call it, and there's a reason for that. Anyway, some of the ones are new in there, and some of the ones have been on the internet before. But it was just a way to give me a purpose and give me a mission in life. And it was a way to help others without expending a lot of energy driving and doing other things.
What was your one today?
Ooh, it was about, I got to think about it, because I write them a week in advance.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I think maybe it was yesterday that says an action that's like when you don't take an action, that actually is an action. Okay. Like if I didn't take this opportunity with you, that is an action that would keep me from maybe reaching somebody else that needs to be reached.
Right.
So don't hold yourself back. I think that might be it. That might have been yesterday's. I'm sorry.
No, I totally get it. I write way ahead of time sometimes. So tell us about the book, the latest book, Truth, because I think going through some of the notes on that this morning, it was pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's a lot bigger than the first one. See, it's 366 pages. Truth of the day for every day of the year, and I did 366 because my father-in-law was born on leap year, and there's an extra one in there for him.
Okay.
So they are truths. There's one for every day. You can read it through, or you can flip to one of them and read them. And there's a great colorful peacock on the front, because a peacock is a bird of integrity and truth. It's a symbol for truth. Also, when a peacock crosses your path, it is said that this signifies a new opportunity, a new beginning in your life. And that's what I want my readers of the book to have, a new beginning. Choose differently, choose wisely, look at your misperceptions. And also, Rhett, you know how peacocks get their beautiful colored feathers?
No.
They eat thorns. And the harder the thorn is to digest in their digestive tract, the more beautiful the color in the tail. And I relate that to people, to all of us going through our life lessons. The harder the life lesson is, and the truth you learn from it, and that's the key, to be aware of learning your truth from it, the more beautiful and peaceful person you become in the end. So I guess right now I've got a great big tail of peacock feathers.
You talk about embracing those challenges with love. How do you keep from getting angry and mad when the world throws you a curveball, to use a sports analogy? How do you keep that smile on your face? How do you embrace it with love? That just seems like a real challenge.
Well, first of all, you have to allow yourself to work through that anger and fear.
Because it doesn't go away, right? You still have it.
You've got to work through it. I used to play tournament racquetball when I was diagnosed with MS, because when I would get hot, I would start seeing two balls, and I couldn't play. I didn't know which one to hit, So I remember going into the racquetball court, and it was a closed court, and I was sponsored by Head Racquetball, and I took my Head racket and I just beat it up on the wall. I was like, oh God, how could you do this to me again? And I sent the racket back to Head, and I said, God, look what happened to my racket. So you take that worry. Number one, worry won't cure anything. Whatever you worry about is just going to make you nervous, unhappy, whatever. Whatever's going to be is going to be. And if you embrace something with fear, and it says this in the Bible, your fears shall come to pass. Like if I go, oh my gosh, I got a diagnosis of MS, maybe I won't walk, maybe I won't do this, maybe I won't do that. Well, maybe you will. You've got to look at it from a different light. And I don't want to downplay anybody's case who has a severe case of MS, because it is extremely difficult. When I'm having a bad day, I want to get down and I want to give up. Trust me, and you just have to pick yourself up off the ground and dust yourself off and say, I can do this. I can fight this MS monster.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot approach anything. There's only two ways you can come from in life. You come from fear or love.
Okay.
And when I'm talking about fear, that's that false expectations appearing real, and that's anything negative like worry, anxiety, depression, anything like that. Love, I'm talking about an unconditional love, a love of no expectations, no motives, and no judgments. To the extent you have a motive about anything, you shouldn't do it. Some people say, well, I gave her a birthday present and she didn't send me a thank you email or whatever. Well, don't give the present then, because you have a motive in doing it. Don't have an expectation. Don't have a judgment. If you have judgments about others, you're simply judging yourself. So you've got to get out of all that, excuse my language on the radio, crap.
That's
I'm sorry.
no worries. I've heard worse.
Sure.
Nice thing is we're not regulated here by the FCC, so
Good.
not yet anyway.
I would not look good in jail, trust me.
I don't know about that. Let's see. Talk about besides the writing and the work. I know you do a lot of bit of teaching and work with people. What is that? How does that take shape? What is that work, and how do you sort of help people through their issues? What's your approach?
Well, I do have clients that come to my home or will contact me by a phone. And what I tell them is I'm an educator. I taught middle school for 15 years, mostly in the inner city. And I loved what I did, still keep in touch with a lot of students. So when they contact me, I say, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not going to give any of that kind of advice. Okay, and when they agree to it, I say, well, let me set up a contract with you and I'll work with you. And at the end, if you don't learn anything, don't pay me. Okay. And that keeps it clear. And people have paid me 2 and 3 times what it's worth, because they say they learn so much, which is great, because that verifies that I am living my purpose here on earth.
What is the work? What kind of problems do you see? What are people trying to overcome?
People today are so into technology, and I can understand that, and technology can be good. Okay, I am trying to use my Facebook page and my technology for good, to put good energy into the world, to put healing energy into the world. Our planet, our people need to wake up, and that's what Healing Words, the first book, was about. Trying to wake people up to what they need to learn, instead of always pointing the finger at somebody else to say, you made me do this, because they don't make you do anything that you don't choose to do on some level. So you always have to take things back into you. Our society right now teaches so many incorrect, what I call misperceptions again. They teach people, if you're a good mother, you should worry about your kids. Well, if you're a good mother and you bring them up right, why should you worry about them when they get older? You either brought them up right or you didn't. We have to start at the beginning. We have to start. I would love to see manners start coming back, that's for sure. And, taking care of ourselves, self-esteem, how you feel about yourself, holding your head up, looking somebody in the eye when you're speaking. These are all characteristics that show how you feel about yourself. And they are so important. We need to teach our young people, it's okay to be on the phone and be in technology. And I used to teach my middle schoolers, Rhett, that you can say anything to anybody as long as you say it in the right way.
Well, those are soft skills, right? Those are soft skills that really, can get you very far in life. When you're able to communicate and talk to people, and your manners. I mean, they do matter, right? I totally agree with that. I've probably gotten further on my manners in my life than anything else. But anyway, well, that's good advice. Is there anything that you would leave the audience with that is sort of your key to success, your key thing that you think people need to work on and do every day to help them?
Never give up. No matter what's in front of you, never give up. What you focus on expands, what you think about happens. Focus on what you want in your life and put your energy toward creating that. You can't just focus on it and sit back and say, well, I'm going to wait till it arrives. You've got to focus on what you want, put your energy toward creating it, and take the steps necessary to create that. And live with passion, live with fun, live with laughter.
Mhm. Well,
Okay, important.
yeah, you can't beat that. You can't. That's the truth. Thank you so much, Mary Ellen, for being on the program. This is Lunchtimes on LinkedIn Live. You can check out our new website. It is going to be, the new program is going to be called Power Lunch Live. You can go to powerlunchlive.live online. You can check out our schedule coming up. We've got a great lineup in the next couple of weeks, and you can check out old show for past shows, and you can look at some of the books that our authors and our thought leaders that we've had on the program that have just come out. So thank you so much for joining us, and
David.
we'll see you tomorrow.
I'm so sorry.